Man, Attack on Titan fell off. And it's a shame because this anime was the anime you told people to watch to get them into anime. So what the hell happened? How did it go from being one of the greatest to being one of the worst? I think it has something to do with straying too far away from the things that made it good in the first place. Also, the setup and payoff was not good at all. Well, to be more specific, the payoff wasn't good. The setup was the peak of Attack on Titan actually. So, the payoff sucks, and you stray too far away from what makes the series good, kinda get a shitty formula. Well, what made the series good in the first place? For me, it wasn't the characters, or the gore, or the twists and all the turns. For me, it was the themes. I really liked the religious aspect of the show. And I know that sounds weird, so let me give you an example. For every man that feeds the poor, takes care of the old and sick, there's always something dark and scary and disturbing. And I think this hits me hard because I was raised learning about God, Jesus, sins, all of that, but we never talked about the devil. I think it's something to do with like the dirty truth, something ugly in a world of what we thought was just beautiful and magical at the time when I was a kid, and I believed all of that. And that kind of affected me all the way up until now, because I still believe in demons and spirits and ghosts. So, with that being said, even though I don't consider myself religious anymore, when I still look at old paintings of devils and gods and, well, mainly because it's the one I'm familiar with, Jesus and stuff like that, I get genuinely unnerved. And now imagine my surprise when you watch the outro of Attack on Titan and you get the symbols and imagery of devils. I'm kind of intrigued, to say the least. It's kind of right up my alley. Now, I don't think I can show you the entire outro, so I've messed around with the colors and all of that. It's still probably going to get flagged, but it has everything I was talking about. You have imagery conveying the truth that we just do not understand. But on the contrast, we have kids singing, making light of the situation. It's scary and eerie and off-putting. It's genuinely one of my favorite things about the anime. I think religion works so well in Attack on Titan because it falls in line with everything else. Religion for everyone is such a human thing, to look forward to something, to have faith in something, to hope in something. It's really powerful, and considering Attack on Titan's all about survival and death and being scared, religion fits right in. So I hope by now you can see how important religion is for Attack on Titan, at least for me. I hope you can see my point by now. So with all the build up of devils and doing deals with devils and religion, all of it doesn't matter. Yep. None of it matters. It's aliens the entire time. And I guess that's where setup and payoff comes in. Because how are you going to set up your story the entire time to be about religion and scary things like that? And for it to just be about fucking aliens the entire time. Just space guys. Like, come on. It's clear as day, the infamous panel of Ymir falling down the tree and seeing the alien latch onto her. God, it was so disappointing. And it had such a bad effect on the story as well, because it went from Titans being questions about humans to whatever, to being just almost like a power-up, like a shonen type, I've got a mech suit type thing. It's so boring. Attack on Titan's got some pretty good characters. You got the TikTok e-boy Eren, you got the big man himself, Captain Levi, you got the greatest of all time, Irwin, Giga Chad Reiner, and the homeboy Mike. So out of everyone here, why is Irwin the best character? Well, he's the only one that died. And before anyone says anything, Eren didn't die, he turned into a bird. And if you say, no, Eren did die, that bird wasn't Eren, then why the fuck was a random bird going up to Mikasa just for like no reason? And like I get it, like birds are free, Eren's now free, so the bird's supposed to symbolize Eren. But if that's not legitimately actually Eren, then it's actually just a random fucking bird. Or, new theory, every bird in existence is now Eren. So why bring up characters? I'm not ranking them on how much I like them, kind of, but it's to do with setup and payoff. Your favorite character can and will be killed at any moment in this story. I mean, do you remember the first 2 seasons? When you had your first favorite character, you were praying to God that your character was important enough not to just die randomly. So when season 3 comes around and everyone's life is on the line, you're terrified. Because this show has been setting up this world for it to be your character will very well die in order to make progress. And Owen was the embodiment of this. And then when he has so many cool moments in the show and so much backstory, and then for him to die, you're devastated. But then you're like, we live for that shit. That's why we're watching this show. That's why we're coming back. That's why we're reading it. Hypothetically, what would happen if we stray away from all of these things that make it great? End of hypothetical, you'd get the ending of Attack on Titan. But how does this ruin characters? Let's talk about Reiner. My list of favorite characters went from Irwin to Reiner, and then when the series ended, somehow went back to Irwin. How the fuck did that happen? Reiner had the best setup and the worst payoff. Oh, hot take from me, I don't like the setup and payoff.
Can you believe it?
Now, I don't ever want my channel to be sappy and depressing and sad, but this is very important, so I'll try and keep it quick and maybe uplifting, maybe, probably not. So a lot of people can identify with the characters in this show. It's a sign of good writing. It just means you've done a good job of making your characters feel very human and real. And a lot of people can identify with Reiner. Sadly, it's not because we are fucking the most beautiful men in the world and trained to be a titan from a young age. But Reiner resonates with people who can't forgive themselves. Even when people look up to you, care about you, and even forgive you, you might not feel like they're really meaning it. Even if they tell you to get over it or it's been such a long time, you're just stuck. And that's what a depression is. You're just stuck and you can't move on. So without it getting too dark, I'm going to end it here because I could talk about this forever. So for people who aren't going through a situation like this, I'll just leave it at this. If you know, you know. I haven't given much examples of this type of depression, but if you know, you really truly know. You don't need a big paragraph to tell you how you feel. So a final message to the people that are going through this, you do already know the drill. Continue to struggle. I'm sure it'll get better one day. I mean, that's what we live by, right? Alright, I'm glad that's over. That was so fucking cringe. That's why we should bottle our emotions up so we don't cringe. Let's set the stage. Let's get into a rhythm. Let's talk about Reiner and Reiner's backstory.
Also, sorry if I do like a cringe, deep, sappy voice to like set the tone, but you know, I kind of want to do like a story-based thing. Oh,
Reiner was the child of an Eldian mother and a Marleyan father. Because he was Eldian, he grew up believing he wasn't worth anything. After all, his father did leave his family just because of him, and all Reiner did was exist. He didn't do anything wrong. All he ever wanted was for his father to like him and his mother to stop crying, purely for the fact that she existed. And Reiner had a plan to get exactly that. He was gonna join the warrior program. If he could pass training and be promoted to a titan, his mother could stop crying. And maybe, just maybe, his father would respect him again. So off Reiner went, day after day, training after training. Reiner would finally succeed and become a titan. Throughout his training, he wanted to give up. He always fell, but he always got back up. The thoughts of his mother not living in fear anymore, and his father greeting him with a smile, was enough to make him get up and push on. After a short parade, he went to go find his father. All of that blood, sweat and tears, this is what it was for. This was what he was working towards. To see his father greet him with a smile. Instead of a happy father, he found a raging old man. The old man cursed Reiner's name, yelling about how he regrets having a child with an Eldian. The old man tells Reiner to leave and stop ruining his life. Any adult could see Reiner's father was just angry at the world and wanted to put the blame on anything but himself. But Reiner was just a child. He couldn't see that. All he could see was a young Eldian boy who's done nothing but ruin his parents' lives. How ignorant, Reiner thought. I'm a disgusting Eldian. I need to earn the respect of the people around me. I must complete my mission. This is where I believe Reiner made a toxic complex. Reiner must put away his own happiness and his own mental health for the satisfaction of people that will never respect him. Reiner and the other warriors went on to continue their mission, to breach the wall. The warriors have been running for hours on end. They decide to take a break. While they're resting, an argument breaks out. As they argue, a titan sneaks up behind them, and the Jaws titan sacrifices himself to save Reiner. They escape the titan, but the team is breaking apart. Annie thinks it's best to retreat. After all, they haven't even made it to the wall and they're already down a titan. Reiner's complex disagrees. How could he go back empty-handed? How could he get the respect he wants if he's failed his mission? After a long fight with Annie, he finally convinces her to continue the mission, even without their partner. They continue to breach the wall to find the founding titan. They go undercover as civilians who lost their homes to the Titan attack. The attack that they caused, that killed thousands of people and left many homeless. The warriors needed a place to stay, so they joined the training corps. During basic training, Reiner made many friends along the way. He got something he wanted, but not from the people he wanted it from. He got respect. Reiner quickly got a reputation for being the big brother type. He would look after the people that needed help, and in return they would look after him. For many years, Reiner would spend his life with the Eldians, the people he was supposed to destroy. Even when he was young, he never hated Eldians. He only did what he did because that's all he knew. Over the years, that toxic complex didn't go away. It did something much worse. It stayed hidden, always affecting his thought process, always telling him what to do without him knowing it, always conflicting with what he actually needs, what he actually wants. Annie, Reiner, and Bertolt are discussing their plans. A longtime friend, Marco, overhears their conversation and thinks they're joking. All four of them start to panic. Reiner makes a decision. Their mission cannot be compromised. Reiner pins down Marco and takes off his ODM gear, leaving him to die and be eaten by a Titan. As Marco gets eaten alive, Reiner asks Bertolt and Annie, why is Marco being eaten? What's happening to him? Reiner's mind is beginning to break. That toxic complex made him kill Marco. But Reiner didn't want to. He didn't need to, but he did. That toxic complex dragged him back down to continue his mission. A mission that he started to not want to do anymore. After all, he found people that respected him. Later down the line, they realize Eren has the founding Titan, so they join the scout regiment to get closer to him. Time passes and Reiner forgets his original goal as a warrior. But how? How could he forget such a thing? At this point in the story, Reiner is happy, for the first time in his life. Everyone looks up to him, they see him as an older brother, and he embraces that. He protects the people he was supposed to kill, and even started to fall in love with one. He really was, truly happy. Finally. But sadly, his true happiness was short-lived. The scouts spotted a Titan climbing the wall. To everyone else, this was a strange, abnormal Titan. Nothing too unusual. But to Reiner, this meant the end. It's been many years since Reiner and the others invaded the wall. This was extremely concerning to Marley. Why is progress moving so slow? Shouldn't they be back by now? The Marleyans sent over Zeke, the Beast Titan. He was there to watch over them, to see the progress, to see what's taking so long. That toxic complex? It resurged. Seeing Zeke reminded him he was meant to kill all these people. He was meant to get the founding Titan. He wasn't meant to make friends. The things that made him truly happy, he was supposed to throw away. After a long battle between the scouts and Zeke, they returned back to the wall. Everything good in Reiner's world was about to crumble. Atop the wall, Reiner grabs Eren, and he tells him he's the Armored Titan, and Bertolt the Colossal. Why? Why would he do this? Why would he risk his entire operation? Why would he tell Eren that he's the thing he hates the most? It's the toxic complex. The toxic complex is fighting Reiner's actual ideals, what actually makes him happy. He wanted to prove his worth to the Marleyans, but he also wanted to have his friends. But he cannot have both. This was his mistake. This is why he asked Eren so casually. He just wanted Eren to come along and everything to go well. He didn't hate anyone, but that toxic complex was forcing him to do the wrong thing. After Reiner realizes the massive mistake he made, him and Bertolt hatch up a plan to capture Eren and run away as quickly as possible. The plan works and they run away to a forest with large trees and many Titans. It's important to note that at this point in the story, Reiner knows Ymir is the Jaw Titan, the very one that ate his friend years ago. So along with Eren, they also captured Ymir. At this point, Reiner's brain is completely broken. 1 second he's happy with Eren, empathizing with him, talking about how he's still a soldier and still a scout. The next, he snaps, talking about how he's a warrior and here to destroy everyone. It's easy to say Reiner has a split personality, but I don't think it's that simple. His ideals and what makes him happy have been thrown away. He's doing what he doesn't want to do anymore. But what he doesn't want to do anymore is what he wanted to do before. He's put himself in a horrible situation. He was just a young child. All he wanted was the love from his father and his mother to be happy. And yet he's ruined everything. He's ruined his friends, he's killed thousands, he's failing his mission. Everything is going wrong for Reiner. All he wanted was to be happy. He was just a young boy trying to do the right thing. So with all this combined, I don't think he has a split personality. I think this is his mind coming to terms with what's happening. Everything going wrong. The scouts set up an operation to rescue Eren and Ymir. The scouts retrieve Eren, and for her own reasons, Ymir goes with Reiner and Bertolt. The warriors get one last chance to capture Eren. The armored, colossal, beast, and cart titan all come up with a plan. One final stand. The fight between the scouts and the titans commence. The titans do a good job of destroying the scouts' numbers, and even some of their heavy hitters like Irwin. Overall, the scouts won. They stole the colossal titan, killing Bertolt, and they're one step closer to the truth about humanity. Reiner and the others are forced to return back to Marley. All of his old friends are either dead by his hands or hate him. He will return back home to where he'll be frowned upon by everyone for failing his mission. Besides Ymir, his only saving grace which allowed him to stay alive, he's lost everything. He has nothing again. Just a sad young boy trying to do the right thing. He's all alone now, resented by everyone and no one to help him. For quite some time, Reiner has been living back at Marley. He spends years reassessing everything he knows. Who is the real villain of the story? The Eldians were devils. The Marleyans were the good guys, right? But I like some of the Eldians. I made friends with some of them. And at the end of the day, I was the one that ruined all their lives. But Marleyans are the good guys, and they're the bad guys? Spending years with the enemy made me happy. I almost forgot my mission. But everyone thinks the Eldians are evil. Is it because I'm evil? Because I'm part Eldian? Is that the only reason I like them? Every day, Reiner's past was weighing on him. The past catches up with Reiner. The depression follows. The years of bullying, the years of being frowned upon, mocked, being told he's worthless for failing his mission, killing all of his friends, almost being killed by his friends. Everything was falling. Everything was weighing Reiner down. Is this how his story ends? Alone in a chamber, sitting on a chair with a gun in his mouth? All because he was a young boy trying to do the right thing? This is where he ends up? Reiner loads a bullet into his gun and places the barrel into his mouth. He puts his finger on the trigger and we hear a bang. Just before Reiner pulls the trigger, Falco slams against the wall. Who is Falco, and why is he so angry? He's a warrior candidate, much like Reiner when he was younger, but why does he want to be the Armored Titan? A young Eldian girl called Gabby fully believes that Eldians are devils, and wants to become a Titan so she can be respected by the Marleyans, much like Reiner. Any person that becomes one of the 9 Titans receives the Curse of Ymir. The curse only allows the user to live for 13 years. Falco is training hard to beat Gabby so he can become a Titan and die in 13 years instead of her. But Falco is naturally passive and caring and not at all good at fighting. He is struggling to beat Gabby in training, and at this rate, she will die in 13 years and become a Titan. Unknowingly, Falco saved Reiner's life, filling him with determination to get back up like he always does. A young child trying to do the right thing and protect the one he loves, and a young child trying to gain the respect of the people that don't respect her. Reiner finally has purpose again. He's going to be the things he never had when he was younger. He's going to respect and care for them and teach them and be a friend. Time heals all wounds. Reiner starts to recover. He has purpose. He's happy. All those haunting memories haven't left him, but he's learnt to handle them. He's learnt to grow. He's learnt to move on. This is truly an important moment for Reiner. But sadly, as usual, as soon as something goes good for Reiner, things get much worse. The scouts have launched a surprise attack on Marley. Moments before the attack, Eren confronts Reiner. All those old wounds reopened, horrible memories flooding back in, from childhood to adulthood. Everything that's gone wrong comes back to him in an instant. All of these haunting memories bring him back into a depression which he thought he left a long time ago. I just need to clarify that I normally don't like Eren as a character, but in chapter 100, the dialogue between Eren and Reiner is perfect. It is beautiful. I recommend you read it over again. After the conversation, Eren commences the attack, with the scouts following soon after. The cries of Gabby and Falco are heard by Reiner. They need help. The scouts have almost destroyed everything. Reiner quietly thinks to himself, telling everyone on the outside to shut up and let him die. He's completely given up. He's defeated. This has happened so many times. Over and over again, he gets knocked down. But he gets back up. It doesn't make any sense. In the same sentence where he's telling people to shut up and let him die in peace, he gets back up. In the conversation between Eren and Reiner, Eren claims that they're actually very similar. The key difference is, Eren continues to destroy his enemies, while Reiner doesn't. Reiner does the opposite. He gets back up in order to protect people, not destroy them. I have a mini theory, but I don't want to get too deep into it just in case it's wrong. But if it is true, it's really good writing. When we first see the Armored Titan, he's used as an attacking character. He breaches walls and is really good at fighting. It's only when he forgets his mission that he becomes weaker. I think the Armored Titan is specifically made for Reiner, almost like they're meant to be. When Reiner was young, he was doing all the things that he didn't really want to do. He always wanted to be friends with people, but instead he was convinced to do the wrong thing and harm others. Reiner wasn't meant to attack people, he was meant to protect people. Much like the Armored Titan, the Titan was used as an attacking force, when really it was meant to protect. If you pay close attention to Reiner and the Armored Titan, you'll see that they're both at their weakest when they're trying to attack, and they're both at their strongest when they're trying to protect. And I think that's the story for Reiner and the Armored Titan. They were both forced to do things they weren't made to do. The Armored Titan wasn't made to attack, and Reiner wasn't made to be aggressive. So when they finally diverge from the things they were forced to be, they become the strongest versions of themselves. With the limited energy Reiner has, he protects the Jaws Titan from death, and Eren retreats. This devastating battle has finally ended. The story focuses on the Eldians now, so we'll skip to when Reiner comes back into play. After Eren commences the rumbling, Reiner finds himself teaming up with his old friends, the same friends he hurt many years ago. Many people on the team haven't spoken to Reiner since he betrayed them. Reiner doesn't stop any attacks coming his way. He fully takes responsibility. Some people can see that Reiner's choices that he made in the past are weighing him down every single day. Others are more emotional though, being upset that Reiner betrayed them. Although tension is high, Reiner realizes something. Most of them are angry because he betrayed them as a friend, not because he was the Armored Titan. Although this was painful for Reiner, this gave him much needed clarity where everyone stands. After all, the only trustworthy voices he heard were in his head for many years. The team has one last heartfelt conversation, as this might be the last time any of them live. At this point in the story, the Eldians have split up into two, people that support Eren and people that don't. In Connie's effort to stop Eren, he's had to kill many of his old friends because they sided with him, calling Connie a traitor. That horrible feeling Connie has of his friends hating him because he's a traitor. That's what Reiner must have felt like, and he realizes that. Jean also agrees, saying that he became a murderer to protect other people. Reiner realizes what Eren said, how we're all the same, that we've all been tricked into doing the wrong thing. No matter what side you're on, you've been tricked. Marleyan or Eldian, non-supporter of Eren or supporter of Eren. Even though Reiner has finally gotten the trust of his old friends back, he realizes that his sins are beyond redemption. Even if he does save humanity, he'll never be able to forgive himself. The best option is to die a nameless hero. As readers, we want Reiner to die, not because we don't like the character, but because we know his pain, the suffering that he's been carrying for years. We know that he doesn't deserve to live, but he doesn't deserve to be unhappy. The plan was to blow up Eren's nape, destroying the source of all living things, and killing Eren himself afterwards. After exposing Eren's nape, the source of all living things escapes and tries to reconnect with Eren's head. If it reconnects with Eren's head, all progress will be lost. Knowing this, Reiner sacrifices himself to stop the source of all living things from reconnecting to Eren. The source of all living things commands hundreds of titans to attack Reiner. This is it. This is where Reiner will die. This is his last stand. He will hold off an entire army of titans and the source of all living things to create an opening for the team to kill Eren. Hundreds of titans march towards Reiner, along with the source of all living things. Reiner gets struck straight in the jaw, much like the one from Attack on Marley, the same attack that put Reiner down instantly. Without hesitation, Reiner tackles the source of all living things while holding off all the other titans. Chunks of Reiner getting torn off by the other titans, eating him, devouring him. This is how Reiner will die. This is how he needed to die, protecting the ones he loves, making amends for the crimes he committed. Reiner can finally rest. He can rest knowing the people around him cares about him, that he's done the right thing. Reiner's vision starts to fade to black. With Reiner's very last actions, he proves to the people around him, and most importantly himself, that he deserves respect. He deserves to be happy. He doesn't deserve to live, but he does deserve to do the right thing. The young boy inside Reiner can finally smile. He's finally gotten his goal. He's respected and loved by the people around him. He's happy. Man, I forgot this is the format I was using. Man, what a beautiful story, am I right? Can you believe that this is a side character? He wasn't even the main character, and he had that much depth? Oh, and tell me that wasn't the most fitting ending for Reiner. I mean, like, we loved him and we were rooting for him, but we know it just wouldn't make sense if he stayed alive, because, like, the things he's done in the past, like, this was truly a redemption arc. It was so beautiful. I'm so glad that's how it turned out. It's been a while, so let me remind you. Straying away from the things that make the series good is exactly what Attack on Titan does. Like, look at my eyes, look directly into my soul and tell me Reiner deserves to have a happy ending and just like, happily ever after, he gets married and has kids and shit like that. He doesn't deserve that. We didn't want that for him. We wanted this ending, right? Right? Come on. There's no way. There's no way you don't agree with me here. We're not watching One Piece. If we watch One Piece, sure, but this is Attack on Titan. We stayed for the characters to die, right? We were like, yeah, fucking Levi has to die, Reiner has to die. Basically, if you're not Mikasa or Armin, they're probably gonna die, right? And that's why we're here. So if you can't tell, Reiner doesn't die. But here's my problem. No one dies. In that whole finale of Attack on Titan, not One Piece, not Naruto, of Attack on Titan, no one dies. Literally nothing bad happens. And you know what? Let's throw insult to injury. You know how Reiner went from this massively respected character to like, oh man, I feel so bad for him, but he's finally getting the happy ending? Nope, he's a fucking loser who sniffs people's handwriting because he has a crush on them. It's there. Why'd you do that? And do not get me started on the, oh, Eren, you really are such a big man. Oh, Eren, you're beautiful, you're perfect. Oh, I'm the author of the fucking show. I'm so good at writing. Oh, Eren, you're so perfect. Oh my god, I fucking hated that with every fiber of my soul. That made me so upset when they all were like, Eren, you're just the best man in the world. Fuck that. That was horrible. I hated that writing. But there was cracks in the foundation, like, we could see it, especially when Hanji died. It was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this is supposed to be a special moment, but you're ruining it. And you could clearly see in Hanji's death, and I'll show you what I mean. So when Hanji sacrifices herself, right, and it's like a really sad moment, and she looks up at the sky, and she's like, where's the plane going? Oh, so they made it out safe, oh, good. And then she turns around, and she sees, like, all the dead scouts, so you're like, oh man, she's dead. And imagine if it ended there, where she's just looking at them and it's all silent, and it's just like, wow. But instead they have like a whole fucking conversation. Like it's not like meaningful and quiet and like the reader gets to go like, oh man, and it's like quiet and stuff. It's just actually just like, yeah, man, so Hanji, you're dead. And they have like a whole conversation. It's like, so we've got a house for you down the way, and like, I can hook you up with my cousin who like knows a guy, and you can like stay there for a while while you get set up. It's like, why are you having this conversation? You're ruining it. Just. And oh my god, Levi should have died. So they have this whole panel of where he can see all the scouts. I swear to God, I feel like this writer was like, okay, he has to die right here. This is where he dies and like bleeds out or something. But nope, they can't. It just feels like, I could be wrong, right? It could be like they had never intention of killing Levi. But like, you're gonna look at this panel at the end of the fucking series, and he's looking at all the scouts, and he's fucking half of his hands gone, his face is sliced open, he's missing a leg, and you're like, yeah, he's not supposed to die here. And instead he gets like wheelchaired and pushed around for the rest of his life. I mean, even in that panel they showed Irwin and Hanji, the two people, like the founding, not the founding scouts, but you know, like the head honchos, the ones we care about. He's supposed to be there with them, right? That's like the whole point. Like, the old generation has all died, you know, they sacrificed, they did the right thing. All of them, all those scouts have died sacrificing themselves. Levi should have been the same. Now he's just like a guy. Like, this is such a bad ending. Oh my god, the writing fucking fell off so bad, bro. And then there's the infamous bird Aaron scene, which, like, I'm not even gonna talk about. I mean, we know how fucking dumb this is, right? Like, why, dude? What happened to subtlety? What happened to, like, good right? What is this shit? It fell off so... And this is what I hate the most about Attack on Titan. It wasn't even like, man, the last arc kind of sucked. It was literally 99% of the way was good. And it fucked up tremendously. It was so sad to see it all play out month after month, reading it, each chapter just being worse and worse. You're like, oh man, what the fuck? And I don't want to hear shit about people going like, oh yeah, but like, you're just unhappy with the way it ended. Of course you're going to be sad. It's the end of the series. No. I wanted people to die because that's what the show was built up to be like. This is how the show goes, right? It did a complete 180. Everyone's happy. Everyone's alive. No one's injured. No one's sad. What am I watching? I'm not upset because the series ended and you can't please everyone. This is simply not Attack on Titan. It strayed way too far away from what made it good.